What's going on, everyone? So, per reports, Guerschon Yabusele, is expected to leave the Philadelphia 76ers, that he's not expected to return, even though he has a house in the East Coast, and with the Sixers, that he is expected to depart. Now, he's a guy that's been heavily linked to the San Antonio Spurs. He's a guy that makes a ton of sense for the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio ended up signing Luke Kornet, which, by the way, he was the guy that was on the Spurs radar, the Spurs were targeting, and the Spurs got, right? Spurs ended up getting their guy in the backup center position, which I think is an excellent backup for them. Gives them some real versatility. I mean, the guy's built a career as one of the best backups in the league. Guy that you can even start in a pinch, right? Slot alongside Wemby at times. Be very versatile for this team. And he's a very Spurs type of player, right? You kind of look at Luke Kornet and it's like, man, yeah, he's a guy that is, he's a Spurs guy. And so I think that was a great pickup, great acquisition. Well, kind of look around. It's like, okay, well, what else does this team need? Now you could make an argument. Don't really need anything, but I do think a versatile power forward, one that could stretch the floor, slot in at the 4, small ball 5 type thing, I do think makes a lot of sense. And, not very many better options than Guerschon Yabusele for a team like the San Antonio Spurs. Also, you have an automatic in Victor Wembanyama. Wemby and Yabusele have a relationship, right? They've built the rapport. They played on, the France national team together, right? They made a gold medal game going up against Team USA, right? So, all of that, they have the relationship, they have the bond, they have the brotherhood. So, hey, we want you type thing. I do think could be enough to maybe sway him to the Spurs if other teams are kind of involved and active. It kind of seems from the reports that everyone kind of feels like he's going to go to the Spurs, which I do think makes sense. But a couple things I want people to keep in mind, right? One, what's the cost? Because you don't want to overpay the guy. And there is a risk, and it is kind of hard to tell what is his value. And the reason it's hard to tell what his value is because he's only had 1 year, really. Now, he's played 3 years total in the league, but he played 2 years with Boston 6 years ago, was out of the league for 5 years, right? To his credit, I love the no quit, only grit type story. I love those things. Heart of an underdog, guy that made the league, fell out of the league 2 years later, which is a very common story. I mean, that's most players, right? Ends up falling out of the league in 2 years and then works his tail off, ends up getting to the Olympics, makes a name for himself in the Olympics, ends up getting to a gold medal game, and a team like the Philadelphia 76ers take a flyer on him. And he was fantastic for the Sixers. But, got to keep in mind, was that circumstance or was that kind of just who he is, right? Is that who Guerschon Yabusele is as a player, right? Because you got to keep in mind that the Phoenix Suns were just ravaged by injuries. I mean, their entire roster, their entire starters, everything. So he got more opportunity. He got a more expanded role. He got to play a heavier minute and role than he might have done otherwise. Right? He might have not have gotten the opportunities had the Sixers been completely healthy. Right? So, and you got to keep in mind, he's probably not going to get those same opportunities he got with the Sixers on a team like the Spurs because you have De'Aaron Fox, Victor Wembanyama, right? Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. Like, you got all these guys that he's probably going to be the 5th, 6th option on your team, where on a team like the Sixers, he was on some nights as high as the 1st or 2nd option. It's a big difference. So that's something you got to keep in mind. And also, is it just one of those things where a guy just had a good year? You see it all the time. Chandler Parsons is a great example. Chandler Parsons, it wasn't even a full year. It was just like this great playoff run where he was tortured and then it ended up getting a max contract. I mean, he still jokes about it, like to this day, that, how foolish that contract was, but he's so happy that it happened, right? Because, again, like we've seen guys have insane years, much greater than even Yabusele had. We've seen guys have some monster seasons, never been able to replicate it, or it was just a particular circumstance and all that stuff. I'm not saying this to deter anybody from getting Yabusele. I'm not saying this to, be like, oh, we shouldn't go get him or anything. No, it's nothing like that. It's just, again, these are things that you got to kind of keep in mind when, you want, I want him too. I want that. But again, Spurs have to make sure, because I'm hoping that they're keeping those kind of things in mind, because he's not proven over years, right? Like if he was in the league for 5 years and was giving you, or you just slowly saw the progress year after year, and it's like, okay, he's heading in the right direction. Right? It's hard to judge something on just a 1 year sample size. You're projecting what he's going to be for the next potentially 4 years if you sign him a 4-year deal on, what he may be in those 4 years, when you don't even have a 4-year sample size to know otherwise, right? So that affects the contract, that affects everything, right? What does Yabusele want as far as contracts go, right? Is he looking for some crazy max or something like that, or a $15 million deal, or a $20 million deal, or even like a $12 million deal, right? Or can you get him for something where you're signing him, 4 years, $32 million, and he's like $8 million a year, right? Like, sure, fine, right? Because he's at least cheap enough, and there's enough risk and whatnot, and he is a guy that is coming off a really good year that gives you that versatility. To me, it just depends on kind of how it ends up playing out. But what does he provide? What can he do for a team like the San Antonio Spurs? Well, first off, 6'8", versatile, 7'1" wingspan, 265 pounds. So he's big, physical, strong. Not a true 7-footer, but that's fine. You play the 4, play the 5, in this kind of small ball role. But a guy that gives you the floor spacing, gives you that versatility. You look at last year. Like I said, he was at 22 in 2017, 2018. Played 33 games, and then in 2018, 2019 played 41 games. So he played 74 games his first 2 years, and then didn't return, was out of the league and returned back in last year, the 2024-2025 season. Talking literally 5 years of being out of the league, and then ended up working his way back, which is great, but again, context matters. But this past year, 70 games, right? You gotta keep in mind, he played almost the same number of games just this year than he did his previous 2 years. But 70 games, 43 games, started 27.1 minutes per game. 8 field goal attempts per game, 50% from the floor. 4 attempts were from three-point range, so literally half of his attempts from three-point range, in which he shot a 38% from three-point range, which is great, right? 2-point range, right? 4 attempts, 61.6%, which is fantastic, right? Look at his EFG, 59.3%. Free throw shooter, 72.5% on 2 attempts. Grabbed just under 6 rebounds, including 2 offensive rebounds a game. 2 assists. We'll round up to a full steal, half a block, and 11 points per game. You look at his per 36, where, okay, again, per 36 doesn't tell you the whole picture, tell you the whole story, but kind of gives you an idea of like what would he look like in a full-time kind of starter role. And his per 36, he'd be just under 15 points, just under 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, and half a block per game in that time. It's fine. It's great. It's fantastic. Right? I am all for you signing Yabusele. Just, I hope the Spurs understand and make sure that they're kind of navigating the risks that may come with that. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.